everyone, and welcome to this episode of Derek Invests. I'm your host, Derek Miller. What we're going to talk about today, the top 10 large cap stocks traded in August of 2024. I thought it would be interesting to see, and that's based on volume, that's based on trading activity. I thought it would be interesting to see where large institutional money has the biggest footprints at the moment, and what that could mean for those stocks, their stock price, where it's headed, when it's headed there. Because if we're looking at large cap stocks based on trading activity, volume, institutional footprints, those are very easy to help us evaluate the market in general. And for those of you that aren't aware, the market's the story right now. The indexes are the story. We gapped up again this morning. All right. I think the S&P gapped up 1%. I think the NASDAQ gapped up 1.3%, something like that at the open. And the reason that's the story is because you don't want to be buying stocks I've said before, at the bottom, market opened up down 5.5%. Well, most people were screaming fire and circuit breakers and all that. The title of my live stream was, "This isn't 2008. I put out a target on the QQQs, the NASDAQ, of 490 for just about 2 weeks from now. It looks like we'll easily get there. And the reason I did that is I could see what the institutional investors, traders were doing. You could tell a 5.5% gap down off of a high price, effectively off a high price. We're already down 10%. This is nothing more than something to drive fear through the roof, get the less knowledgeable, weaker hands to flush out of the market so they could pick up more positions. But what I will tell you is this: when things like that start going on, that is definitely, or can be, I shouldn't say definitely, I mean, it's definitely something to pay attention to. I can say that. You better open your eyes when something like that happens. But it has the potential to be a shot across the bow, giving those with sense the mentality to start saying, okay, has something shifted? What was that? Because at that point, what you do, if you've been in the market for a long time, and as long as I have, 2.5 decades, and you're a forecaster based on market direction, market strength, market weakness, how to actually invest money in a portfolio for people and teach people how to do that for themselves, you know that shots across the bow are critical, and that looking down is always the direction to look. You always want to try to disprove the market, because if you're always trying to disprove the market and you can't do it, then you're bulletproof. But when you're trying to disprove the market and all of a sudden you're able to, okay, now you know to start paying attention. What is market sentiment? What's the short positions? What's the short call position, right? What's going on in futures? What's volatility look like? Now I can tell you that right now, as I posted, when the NASDAQ was opening up down 5.5%, I'm looking to the upside, because if this is real, the market is going to rally to the upside, and then some real selling, and there'll be a trend reversal. So right now I'm paying attention to that. So I thought looking at the top 10 large cap stocks would be interesting for you, so you can do the same thing. All right, let's just get into it so we can start taking a look. Let's see. Here we go. Let me share my screen with you. All right, here we go. I'm on a 15-minute. That is the NASDAQ, which index in the U.S. market is extremely important, because the leader leads. When everything else shows weakness and the leader shows strength, the leader will usually pull the weakness. But if the leader begins to roll over, well, the weaker indexes take a much bigger dive. Okay, so what do we see here on this run up? This is Itaú Banco Holding. Apparently very much in play. It doesn't look all that interesting. As I tell all of you all the time, I don't go in and look at this stuff before I talk with you about it. I don't try to skew what I'm looking at. No, this is a weekly chart. You can see volumes really dried up since 2023. You're getting some large price pushes in the upward direction. I mean, from what's the low 562, now 675 the following week. Let's see. What would I say about this particular stock? I would say that this particular stock is weak. That's what I would say. So let's go ahead. Actually, you know what? I will take a picture of this. Darn it. All right. All right, let's take a look. What's next? We'll look at CSCO. Wow. Let's roll out to a monthly here. Yeah, I mean, it is still, CSCO. I'm shocked that this actually even came up. I guess it's very actively. But as far as price movement goes, I mean, oh my. Okay, so this gap filled. Now it's a gap up. So look, everybody knows what's going on here. That is a student of mine. This is no secret right there. It's at 45.71. Just call it, just 46 is just fine. So you're looking at 2024. Well, no, that's okay. I'll leave it that big. It's fine. We're looking at CSCO. What did I say? 46. 46 is fine. Like if you're in and out of your position, things to the penny, you just don't. There we do a target date. We're on a daily here. Target date. We're gonna run. This has got to be a month out. I'm gonna zoom. I think it's a month out. 9/15/2024. But also, I am gonna shrink the lettering here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I went into the daily, which, as you know that follow me, that's really a 6 to 12 month. And right now, it's still summertime. Volume is definitely picking up. There's definitely some more activity. Zoom in to an hour. Let's just get in there really close. That's this morning. It's on screaming volume. Take a look at that 5 minute. I'd probably be comfortable with 2 weeks from now, to be honest. But there's no difference if you have a price target out a month, or and it hits the price in 2 weeks. Whether you're playing options, whether you're or whether you're shorting the stock, right? But what you do not want to do is you do not want to fall short. All right, you when you're going, if you're in an option right now and you're saying, hey, I'm going to buy the 46 put, and which is, you know, almost $4 out of the money at the moment. So almost 10%, I think, because we're about 50. So you're about 8% out of the money. If you buy that out of the money put for a month from now and it hits 2 weeks from now, you're the furthest thing from depressed, right? Now, some of these guys that want to play options really tight are more interested. Yeah, but what goes on? They just want to know what's going on tomorrow, what's going on in 3 days, what's going on in a month. That is information that my students and I go over. But what I will tell you is that you can look for CSCO to be there within the month. I would tell you it looks more to me like it'll take no more than a couple of weeks. I'm being attacked by a singular fly. I'm gonna have to get bug spray for out here. All right, CSCO and now Lucid. Oh gosh, the same story with Lucid all the time. I've been looking at business in 2003, and it is wild. Professionally in the business in 2003, and it is wild how many times this company has reinvented themselves, and it is always the same story. Some giant move upward, some giant pump, and then a massive dump, and this stock is worthless. I don't. It's being traded, so it came up, but gosh, I don't like it. We'll look at American Airlines, then BBD. All right, let's do that. American Airlines. All right, on a monthly. Wow, incredibly weak. I cannot believe these are the companies that are being most actively traded at the moment. I don't know if perhaps, you know, they're just giving up on these things or what. But look at this. This is nice. This is a daily chart. I like this. When did this occur? May 29th. So coming into summer. Well, you should have a nice move. You should have a nice move. What are you looking at there? Well, you just call it 13. I'm going to zoom in and see how far out it looks. Let's see where it's still showing up on a chart. Here we go, 4 hour. Let's go to 1 hour. Look, gap down, gap filled. Now you have a gap below you. Those of you that understand risk management understand what to do with this gap below you, and the fact that you have this very large gap right there. I'm going to give this one a month too. Yeah, this one's going to take longer than that. This is probably 2 months out. So let's do 8. I'm going to give you a shorter term date as well. We're going to go 13. Target date 10/15/2024. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit too. Shorter term date on this one because there's a pretty easy one sitting there for you. So let's go ahead. We'll move into, let me take a look at 30 minutes. All right, this is filled. 15. What's this? This is like 980 to what? You're sitting at 10. Yeah, this will happen really fast. Here, let's give you this one too. $9.80. So we're doing 8/15/2024. L. We're doing what, 980? All right. And then we have target date. This should be by Friday. Let's go. We'll give it a week anyway. It's all right. 22nd. There you go. So I have 2 new students starting. When new students get started with me, they're my one-on-one focus is to work with people on your own cash management and investment management system based on yourself is crucial. BBD, Mara is crucial. If you don't, you have to establish the rules and system that is for you. If you have not and you're just looking at good information. However, information is useless if you don't know how to apply it to yourself, or if you don't have rules for yourself or a system for yourself. I love this large volume here in the background. This is great. It brings you right down into the area we're in now. This is a very cheap stock. So I can see why it's being played so heavily in volume. Most of these have been rather inexpensive. The only thing I would tell you, well, that's still 10%. That's still 10%. And in fact, this hasn't been filled either. And that's what, 50 cents on 280. I mean, that's not a bad move. Let's see how far that shows up. Well, see this below you? It's still a worry, especially on this volume. But this will take time to fill because of the amount of volume that came in. So what you want to look at when you're looking at gaps and how quickly something's going to fill, when there's monstrous volume and then you have a gap, this gap will take time to fill. I mean, how long will it take? You don't know. I mean, it could be until the next market trend reversal when you see something like that. Well, I guess this gap down did fill. Let's a little more. Yeah, I'm not going to do a target price and date on this, although I can tell you that this gap needs to fill and this gap needs to fill. And see the volume that it occurred on? What did I just tell you about gaps and huge volume? It can take some time. It can take real time because there was massive either selling pressure or massive buying pressure. And that pressure, any other pressure, right? Like if you're a strong guy and holding, it takes time for that lightweight to wear you down, right? Or if you're and you're holding up lightweight, it takes to push and weigh you down. You'll reach a point at which I don't care how strong you are, even 10 pounds will fall onto your chest and it will sit there until someone helps you pick it up long enough. That's the same kind of idea when you're thinking of trading activity and volume versus a cheap stock price. Okay, massive volume, cheap stock price, gaps take time to fill. What did I say I was going to do next? That was I'm going to leave that alone. We have Mara and Amazon. I know I had done this recently, and I said, here you are back down at a support level. Is this a monthly? No, let me look at that monthly. I'll look Mara up too. I'm sure I have I'm sure I have target dates on this one. And a lot of times, folks, I do so many stocks, indexes, crypto, trees, and I have price dates that a lot of times I'll look them up and give an update. But I remember Mara, and Mara was Mara is a demonic something that steals from you. It takes like positivity from the world. And I was making a joke that this stock was no different and that you should get the heck out of it. So I know that I had a big downside target on this. I don't see anything here that's going to sway my opinion. This is all selling in the background, folks, at these high prices. This is definitely not something you want to own. I don't really see. Let's zoom in and see if we see a target. There's a gap just above it. I'm going to leave this one alone too. We're going to move over to Amazon. I would stay away from Mara. There's no doubt about it. Very weak stock, being sold heavily in the background. I would not touch it. Amazon. Huge price move. Very low volume on Amazon. Let's see. It's following trend with the NASDAQ, I can tell you that. So I don't think add here, aside from the fact that I told you that the gap would fill. So, I mean, it's right above you now. I mean, you're really looking at 180. You have a gap below you now as well. Now, listen, if you don't know how to be playing that, my one-on-ones, and that's a bit more advanced. But as I always tell my students, here we are again. This is another great example. Look at this. This is Amazon, guys. This isn't some little rinky-dink stock. See the volume on the gap? And this is Amazon. And look how long it took to fill. It still filled, and it will. And there was no doubt it was going to fill, right? Look at this. But I've on gaps create a lot of upward pressure. This creates a lot of strength. High volume plus gap equals strength. Gap takes longer to fill. Let's go back. I'll put a little gap fill. I'm going to say this is a good one. Gap filled. How long? 2nd. When did this happen? February 2nd. March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. That might look a little sketchy to some. I don't know if they'll be able to read that. If you don't watch the live, I'll give a good description of this. But if you're not watching live, yeah, that could look a little hairy. I put a lot of information on that. It's really not. That's a very simple analysis for anyone, a very easy example just to show you how it works and how to determine whether or not the gap will quickly or slowly. But if you see other information, you're like, I don't know what this says. We're going to look at Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Pfizer. Let's go on to Bank of America. Interesting that Bank of America and gold are among the heavily traded. I think I just did a review of Bank of America, so I don't think I'm going to wait. Yeah, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on Bank of America. I just did this. What is going on right now? This is strength. I just went over this stock. I'm not going to waste any time on that. I haven't reviewed Goldman Sachs in a while, but I can tell you that's a significant amount of strength in Goldman Sachs. Let's see. Yeah. Goldman Sachs is strong. You need to follow whatever they're doing, everybody. This is the financial institution to follow because they are very strong. Let's look at Goldman Sachs compared to the S&P as far as price goes. Goldman Sachs is basically approaching their highs, which would put the S&P 10 points at 5.6. Yeah, it's 1.5%, 2% higher, but it's pretty significant. Yep. Goldman Sachs has strength, but it'll be looking for a new high price. And as you know, when we're looking for new high prices, I don't put targets. I can just tell you that's a very strong stock right now. It looks really good and definitely something you'd want to participate in the long-term portion of your portfolio. Pfizer, as a company, I hate it. As someone who invests and trades, I look at it like I look at anything else, and I try to be fair and even-handed. A lot of buying in the background, no secret. 2020, you're back below 2020 levels in Pfizer. Let's take a look. Let's zoom into the weekly here. I have to move quick. I know I'm running short on time. There's a lot of volume here in the weeks behind you. Price is holding, but not moving higher. Let's go on to a daily. Here's a gap down, gap fills, price move. Significant amount of selling. Let's keep moving in. 4 hours. Okay, we're starting not to see a lot here to look at. 25.50 is definitely below you. I don't see anything here. Yeah, this is just not a stock I'd be interested in. I mean, just from a trader standpoint, I just would not be interested in that particular stock. All right. I hope that everybody enjoyed the analysis today. I hope that provided some. I think we gained a little wisdom about gaps in there. We also got some price targets, which is great. I'm not 100% sure why some of those stocks are the ones in play, other than they're cheap. So from a volume standpoint, there's a ton of volume there. All right. So remember, if you're not good up here, you're not good anywhere. If you're having a rough day, get outside, look at the sun, smile, fake it till you make it. You haven't lost yet. You know how I know? You're still here. All right. You're batting 1,000. You can't miss. All right. As always, everybody, every day above ground.